Hello guys, this is Deepika from mytutorialrack.com. In this tutorial, we will give you a quick look at what the distributed workflow looks like as compared to the central repository. So as you can see, in the distributed workflow is on the left hand side and the centralized repository or the centralized workflow is on the right hand side. In the case of the distributed workflow, this is what makes Git very powerful. In the case of the distributed workflow, every developer is going to have the own copy of the repository on the local, as well as there will be a public repository. So every developer will be making changes on his private repository, and once he is fully satisfied and once he's done with those changes, he is going to go ahead and push it to the public repository or merge with the public repository. So this way he's not talking over the internet, he's not making changes over the internet, so it's not slow. But whereas in the case of the centralized repository, so since most of the time the centralized repository will be hosted on a particular server and all the other developers are going to go ahead and communicate with this centralized repository, which will make this a very slow operation. Another thing here in the distributed workflow, there's multiple copies of there's a backup of the project files present, but in the case of the centralized repository, there is no backup present. So if there is only a single point here of failure, and if that fails, there is going to be a lot of loss of the project and everything. All the history is going to get corrupted. So in the next tutorial, we're going to go ahead and create a Bitbucket account, and in that Bitbucket account, we will host our public repository remotely on that particular Bitbucket account. So we'll go ahead and create a Bitbucket account in the next tutorial, and also on that Bitbucket, we're going to go ahead and create a public repository, and that public repository will be the main repository, but all the developers are going to have their own copies. Like I have a MyGit repo, Mary has a Mary's repository, and we'll also introduce a third party or a third developer called John, and we will see all this thing in the next tutorial. So I'll see you in the next tutorial. Thank you so much.